actually realize I was live. Hello, America. How are you? Okay, so that's a first. 1 minute to go. I got a couple of open positions ahead of the open, anticipating a positive start. So we should be good to go. We have 17 seconds to go. So let's look at the espresso. Will come in here at 45. And for the sell, it will come in here. So we're open. What I've been working on is the espresso for the NASDAQ. I haven't found the right combination yet. But anyway, I feel like my manners have gone out of the window. Good morning. How are you? And I hope you're well. All right. I can see that I have one second. I have completely lost my my normal. Thank you very much for alerting me that the chat was actually still open. This is I turned the chat off because it's so distracting. So sorry about that. Okay. Thank you, Ronnie. I really appreciate it. I completely forgot about that. I just want to test that divergent is working as well. Testing. It's definitely working. Thanks, Johnny. Sorry, not Johnny, Ronnie. Thank you, Johnny. Okay, with all of that behind us, we should be good to go. So that FTSE is just something that I have researched. Did you get this push as the US opens? But otherwise, I'm going to delete this order because we are now about 3 minutes into the session. The espresso short has triggered, but perhaps I'm not in a rush to sell short. Although you would argue that the trend is down. I think the real key would be yesterday's low, which is 51,775, which is what we saw last night. You can begin to argue if there's a completed pattern there. If we count the 578 down and 625, not exactly the same, but they are certainly not far off, and you would call that a harmonic move. Could you expect a retracement from here? Yeah, I think you could. But then that retracement is exactly what you hit at the, you see how that 50%? So I think we've sort of been teetering between this high, now turn support, and 50%. And I think a breakout above the 50% level would be a sign that we have completed the downtrend for now. So this 52,000 actually represents quite an important area. We could do the same for the NASDAQ. So 29,000, and you may recall that yesterday at 29,000 I was betting on more upside, and then this happened, and I severely suffered from it. Stand by for a long position in the Dow. Want to be a buyer of the Dow. Down here. Imagine I'm going to get a fill here. I'm buying the FTSE here, down at the low end of the range. I know I don't normally trade the FTSE during the US session, but I will today. I've been filled in the Dow. $51,978. Just so you know, I have bought the DAX just this very second. I haven't got the chart up and running for you, but I can very quickly. Quite a weak market, it seems. Ooh. Bought the DAX just here. Yeah. Okay. So we're not seeing any kind of support at low 1. And the FTSE decided to make new lows for the day. Not encouraging. Actually, that's not true. Not new lows, but spiking channel. Let's see if this is the low. I'm 10 points offside right now. And I am quite offside on the Dow. It was fast that it went below. Very fast. Stand by in the NASDAQ for a long position. Did that just run away from me? It did, didn't it? Well, anyway, for the record, I wanted to be a buyer down here around 60. Wow, the FTSE is weak. A lot weaker than I anticipated. Something is spooking the FTSE. I'm going to be stopped out at the FTSE. My stop loss is 25 points. It should actually be 30 points, you know that? Maybe I should just move. Too late. Never mind. The stop loss should actually be down here. I didn't see that. I had changed it from 30 back to 25. Okay, I'm going to try the NASDAQ now at 28,960. Oh man, that is frustrating. This is the FTSE. My entry was 533, which is here, and I made a mistake on the stop loss. You know, earlier today we spoke about, how do you feel when you get frustrated? And well, here's an opportunity to explore how I feel right now. Quite annoyed with myself. So far I got nothing but red on my screen. NASDAQ is still exploring the trading range. And of course, we have a significant, as you can see here, a significant gap up in the NASDAQ, about 300 points, which is the reason why I'm buying. This is where I entered my FTSE, and this is where my stop loss should have been, and this is where I got stopped out. I'm going to add to my NASDAQ. Dow came up to high of 1 and 2. What I'm hoping is not happening here is that that first 10-minute bar is now the sell area, but it would seem so. I'm adding to my NASDAQ. Well, I see the channel too. Of course I do. I'm sure you do as well. It's a very distinct channel on the 1 minute. Of course, if we can break out of that. But Dow's struggling. I think I'm going to buy the FTSE again. See if I can get a slightly better price. So we're coming up to the 10-minute area once more. So now we have a bull bar, we have a pin bar. I think this is going to go through. If you get a close above 52,000 on the 5-minute, then I think we need to be long. But it still has to prove it, doesn't it? And the bears are bold. They're selling right into it with conviction. My NASDAQ is underwater. I need to be careful this. As you can see, I'm losing on it. I think I just moved the stop loss. Or did I do something? Or is that an order delete? I think I placed an order. So now the Dow is showing strength, but the NASDAQ is certainly not. I'm going to take a chance in the FTSE now. I'm buying it here. Would you like me to post that in Telegram? Well, I will anyway. Damn you, NASDAQ. I'm going to move my stop loss to this area here. Oh, 28,883. So the Dow is still not holding. Still need to get a close, preferably. So we retested 4 low in the NASDAQ. I want to be an aggressive buyer, but I need a little more. I need a little more than what I'm seeing. One of my NASDAQ is doing well. Wow. I am I'm jigging and it's jagging. Zigzag. So we're coming up to school run long at 52,060. That's here. That has just triggered. I'm buying the Dow for school run. $52,010. That's not actually where it triggered. It triggered at 52,014. I just got a slightly better price. I think I'm going to reduce my exposure in the NASDAQ. I closed 2 of the 3. I'm happier to be long now in the Dow, adding to my Dow position. Look at NASDAQ now. That's probably not the worst decision. Damn. Okay, so this is looking pretty good in the Dow. I think I'll add to it. Buy more Dow. Come on, NASDAQ. So if we go back to that 30-minute chart that I showed before, I wonder if we have a, so we're sort of straddling the 50% line and wonder if we have an opportunity to get up here to 52,270. Come on. I will, do I add? Do I add? Do I wait? I think the NASDAQ is going to go further. I'm going to have to take my loss. Actually, my stop loss is down here. I'm just going to leave it at stop loss, but really big chance that this one is going to further probe this channel. Damn. At least I'm making money on the Dow. Quite a lot, so I nearly got 10,000 in open profit. I think I want to start bringing home some fruitcake. So, closing half of FTSE and closing half of FTSE and closing half of FTSE. I just want to have a tiny bit of a runner just so I could tell myself I shouldn't have closed it. As you know, I had something in the DAX. I will take that profit. And then I'll close Dow. Close Dow. And I'm going to get stopped out of the NASDAQ. You know, so I'm going to just leave it. It's a lost cause. Damn. And then I'm going to close Dow. And I'm going to close a little bit of Dow. And a little bit of Dow. And then I'm going to see where the account is. Okay. Well, that was a big jump. And finally I get stopped out of my misery in the NASDAQ. I'm glad I decided to get out. So there you go. That was my campaign this morning. Not quite what I had expected, if I'm being honest with myself. I thought NASDAQ was going to be the winner and the Dow was going to be the loser. And then it turned out to be the other way around. Up here, when I saw 5 and then 6, perhaps it's easier to describe on a 1-minute chart, but when we came up here and we took out this high here and we started trading low again, down here, I'm thinking this is not looking good. All right, let's see the comments. Holy cow, what a trading in Dow. I made a big bounty. Thanks, Tom. You're welcome. Somebody sending me a clapping monkey. That's quite funny. Thank you. What the WTF? What the fuck? Felt like a roller coaster ride. How did you manage that? I don't know. As David Paul would say, I must have testicular fortitude. Honestly, if I didn't have that, NASDAQ, it would have been a perfect day. And I still think that we need to be long the Dow. So I got a little bit left. Stop loss at break even. But ladies and gentlemen, would you mind just offering me a 5-minute break? I think I just need to go and get myself a little bit to drink. Okay? Hi, how you doing? So a couple of comments coming in. Okay, that one is... That's the first, okay. Okay, Chris, who sent me the message at 12 minutes past the hour. You do know that I can't actually say this out loud. Okay, Mohammed is saying, what would you do if the Dow turned around against you? I would lose. I would have lost. Amir is saying, shall we take this trend into consideration? I think it's the big trend. You can. Wouldn't be the worst of idea to do. Hello, somebody says. What would you think or say to people who are following only your trades? Is it okay or is it bad? Quite like to think that you want to learn to catch the fish yourself. Imagine that you had Al Brooks's ability, or indeed any of the really good price action traders' ability. But then you had my ability to add and press the winners. NASDAQ is on a tear up now. Yeah, I see it. But I got stopped out, so... You see how the NASDAQ on a school run triggered you both long and short. Nasty. By the way, do you remember when I said to you, I'm just going to leave a little bit in the FTSE? And I took profit at when it was plus 16. But look at it now. This is the reason why every now and then I just let a little bit run. It's just to remind myself, let the winners run, Tom HOUGAARD. It's all great that you're adding to the trade, etc., but let them run. Well, yeah, you say that to you when your account has just been battered from a NASDAQ trade. So I would like to be a buyer of the Dow. down around 9 low or 52,086. Somebody is asking me, have you met Greg Rieber? No, have you? Has anybody here met Greg Rieber? In case you don't know who that is, let me show you. So this is the movie. Oops. Flawed. And this is Greg Rieber in the movie. Bet more. I wonder what he's doing now. Nice, Felipe. Maybe he's drinking with maybe he's yeah, I don't know. So somebody was a member of my Telegram channel a while ago, and he lived, I believe, on the same street as Greg de Rieber did in Chicago. And the story he told me was that there was a fire in Greg de Rieber's house, and Greg de Rieber was carried out on a stretcher. Alive, from the story goes, but whether it was with smoke inhalation or burn marks, I don't know. I got his phone number somewhere, but there you go. Well, there's a very strong break higher in the FTSE, and he usually only does that if it's certain that then Dow is going to rally later. And I am looking for a place to re-enter the Dow. Breakout. Stand by. Buying the NASDAQ here. Near the highs of the day. Betting on new highs, obviously. I think I'm gonna add to the Dow in smaller. See if the NASDAQ can actually break out of this. So I'm buying a little bit more in the Dow. We are at the highs of the day. Let me see if there's any questions that I could answer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got positions going. Everything's actually going okay. Maybe we should just let it run. So let me, it's gonna pick some questions going down. Tom, what's the best US alternative to CFD trading in your opinion? Well, it's got to be futures, the market, isn't it? Okay, your live streams and listening to you is the best study I've done in my life. Thank you. Tom, can you give us some pointers to deliberate practice? I think that was his old questions. Okay. Jonathan, you actually written. I just didn't get around to answering. There were some good questions there, Jonathan. It's a good post. You deserves some airtime. Hi, Tom. Can you give us some pointers to deliberate practice, how we can fight our humanness in the market while we trade the live market? Deliberate practice whilst trading, practicing that. Okay. Right. Damn, that's a tough question, I must say. How can we? I don't know. How can we practice emotions? I'm gonna have to think about that. Dow is actually retreating right now. The best way to learn to trade is to have positions on. A demo account won't replicate that emotion of having real money on the line. When I trade, it's real money and it's big money. And I think you can hear it in my voice when things aren't going well. But every time I trade, every time I place trades and I hold trades and I am with you or by myself, I get stronger in my conviction. I think my secret is audit I review. It's unpleasant to review. There's nothing gratifying about it. But it is a ruthlessly raw study of your own abilities. When you left me yesterday, sorry, that sounds like a love letter. You know it's not. When you left me yesterday, when we left each other yesterday, I carried on trading. And I traded the NASDAQ, and I saw the NASDAQ begin to build momentum higher. So instead of buying 20 like I normally do with you, I bought 100. And the pattern that came beforehand, I was so certain we were going to rally, so I bought another 100. Then the market went higher, and I bought another 100, and then I bought another 100. So I was long $400 per point movement in the NASDAQ. And I think if I am being reflective, I couldn't have done that 10 years ago. But I could now. And I don't think I could have done it so well, say 5 years ago, but I could do it now. And I didn't lose my discipline. And so the deliberate practice might be not necessarily to sit and audit your thoughts while you're trading, but to trade. To take the trades as they come. Now, you can also do paper trades, but I think I described the, I actually think this, Dow could actually stop going down now. Because right now I'm actually losing on what I got left. And this is the area where I really did want to buy. But as you can see now, overall, my position is losing me. If you can, this might be the area, but just don't think I wanted to close below 52,086. This may be a retest of the 50% area. Let's hope it is. When I was in Sao Paulo at that event, they had this trading competition between 10 traders, but it was on the Saturday, and I said, well, how is that going to work? Well, they had these tick data recorded. And I know that it is possible to trade as if it was the real thing. I even have it on the situational analysis software that I have built. It is entirely possible to do. And so even though it's demo trading and people say, oh, paper trading doesn't work, well, that's not really paper trading in that sense. That is actually you practicing your skills. And I think in that kind of environment, there is something to be said for practicing paper trading, if you like. I think that's an example of deliberate practice. And if you can somehow bring in the emotional element to it, so for example here, this is how I practice. And So I will click one bar at a time, say, okay, what do I want to do now? Well, clearly I want to be long, right? Okay, so how do I react to this bar? Well, imagine that we're in a trading range and potentially we're going up to 49. Okay, so how would I react to a bar like this? Well, probably say that as long as we don't have any bars that, see, what's interesting about the rally from this low up to this high is, where do you see a current bar close below a prior bar? You don't see it there. You don't see it here. 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 There. And so I suppose the first warning, just from a pure price action point of view, would be, are we closing below a prior bar's low? Okay, yeah. But if you were to sell here, you would have to say, well, how do I manage this? How do I manage the risk? So how I sit in pricing, I'm going to say, okay, fine. This is the range. Yeah, and so the range is from 520 to 531. So it's about 12 points. So if I sold short this bar here, I needed to at least get the market down to 105.08, to make up for my risk. And ideally, I wanted to go to 104.96. The alternative is, I say, do I want to be a buyer below prior bar low? Excuse me 1 second. Do you remember a long time ago I said to you, I have brothers and sisters. It seems as if they still haven't learned not to call me between 3:30 Danish time and 5:30. And so one of my sisters called her, hey, I haven't heard from you for ages. And I said, that's lovely. It's lovely to hear from you, sis. Do you know what time it is? Yeah, don't you? Yes, I know what time it is. But do you know what time it is? Yeah. Why? Because I'm working. Oh, are you sitting gambling? Honest to God. Oh, yeah. I am I am in the eyes of my family a degenerate gambler, which really is hilarious because I don't gamble. Everything is just odds. Anyway, let's get back to it. But I couldn't just hang up on Urge. I had to be nice, didn't I? Sis, kind of working. Just it's how I roll. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm getting a few comments in by other people saying, "Yeah, God, I hate when people calling me." It's not like they don't know that I'm trading. It's like, come on. Yeah, it is so true. Anyway, if we look, for example, at this bar down here, and we say, okay, on the close, let's go back to it so we don't see anything else. And let's get rid of this. If we look at this bar here and we draw this, it's a very simple tool that very quickly, okay, says the range is from 498 to 513, so 15 points. So if I buy on close and I have a, say, a stop loss down here, well then I should really ideally come up here. Ideally up here. Maybe somewhere in between. I can add the oh, that should have been 2.5. And so obviously you and I, we know that after that, the market began to rally. And then we come up to this bar here and we see, okay, we didn't even hit the 2.5. We hit the 1. Sorry, we hit 1-to-1, but not 1.5. Now we are in a situation where we decide, do we want to go short here? Is that high right there a meaningful high? What's special about it? Well, nothing really that I could see, but a price action expert might say, well, actually, Tom, if we draw a line there through the top, you see how it straddles bar 2 and 3. Remember, this is a 5-minute bar. So okay, fine. So you have a market that goes back and tests the area where we have a breakdown. And we definitely have a bar 4 breakdown. There's no doubt about that. This is, by the way, is last week. I don't know if you can see this, but it is. And so I was practicing this. So if I sell short here, it's a very simple trader's equation. Well, that is, if I sell here, do I think that there's enough oomph to take us down to this area here? Or even just, do I want to take this bet? And I think what the playback feature can do for us is to confront us with more scenarios like this that we would see in a normal, typical trading day. And even though we may know what happens next, at least it sort of gives us a more structured, formal way of thinking, going, well, if I risk 15, am I going to get 15 out of it? Well, it's a good start. Okay, so there, if one was quick enough or had orders, perhaps one would get filled. One could also then begin to play around with lines and say, hey, if I was going to be bullish again, I want to see a close above 105.12. Okay, so now I've got a close above 105.12, which I can see is a close above prior bar low, prior bar high, and it's actually also a close tangent to second prior bar high. Now, I don't know what's going to happen here, and unless you know exactly what happened on the 13th, you don't know either. So when you're just looking at it like this Dow is just not really playing ball, huh? We're retesting. I'm seriously contemplating just getting out. NASDAQ, on the other hand, is doing okay. I think we'll just hope for the best. So what would you do here? If you buy here, you might say, if I was to buy here, I need to have a stop loss down here. So I'm risking approximately 10 points. So I would need it to get up to 522. If you sell short here, and you're hoping we're still going to go lower, or even using this tool, how you see how these two actually are in the same range, you could technically have a very low odds sell short signal right here. You basically sell on close at 105.14, even though you just had a close. So do you see how you can construct an argument for either? So what do you think weighs the most here? A, are we going to buy here betting that we're going up to 105.22? Or are we going to take a very low risk bet, maybe with a stop loss, enter at 105.14 with a stop loss 7 points away? Do we think that there's some merit in risking 7 to make what could be potentially 20? That is what this playback feature can enforce on your mind. So now, have you made your bets? Have you placed your trades? Okay, well then let's see what happens, and then just remember, these are just training, and the whole point of training is so that we can strengthen the right kind of behavior. But we are still at the mercy of the market. So here we go. Do you want to know what I think? Do you know, I think we should sell short. I like to risk 7 to make 14. No idea what happened from here. Let's see. Whoa, I'm wrong. Now I'm right. Now I go to lunch. So that was a very simple but very powerful shall we say, a run through of how a trade could be constructed, a low risk trade. I think it needs to go to 96 though, didn't it? Which was here. Does it do that? It sure does. But always, ladies and gentlemen, this is always going to look a lot easier after the fact. So when you're taught by mentors and they always show you the whole chart, be careful, because you are robbing yourself of an opportunity to have real deliberate practice, real hardcore training by having a playback feature. And I think you develop a trader's mindset much better by not having the full picture. Yeah. Okay, I've been trading for almost 4 years, this gentleman says. I'm still not profitable. I've tried so many trading tactics and have made and had so many ways to enter the market, but I'm still not making any money. I had some good days and some bad days, but the bad days eat all my profits. Trading is a mental game. The market goes up and down, that is all. We spend countless hours trying to solve the market through our entries. However, every entry is random. Okay. I just remember, I'm just reading somebody's message here. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Even if it is the exact same pattern, the reason the market moves with you or against you is never the same. You'll find yourself spending too much time working on something that is totally random. The market itself is random, and now you're bringing your random outcome trading tactics to try and read a random environment. You end up in a mess because you must also fight your own humanness while you trade. We know one fact about the market: it goes up and down. So dance how the market wants to dance. Do not force your tactics or framework onto it. The only thing you need to force is your own humanness. Trade how the market dances up or down. If the market is going up, join it. If the market is going down, join it. How you handle your thoughts while you're in that trade, is far more important than whether your tactics told you to buy or sell. How do you try to predict what the market is going to do? No one has a crystal. Why do you try to predict? God, I'm horrible at reading. Why do you try to predict what the market is going to do? No one has a crystal ball. What we can do is look at the current rhythm and direction of the market and hop onto the dance floor to join it. Spoken like a true hero you are. They say you do not see things as they are, you see things as you are. If you are your tactics, you're not looking at the market objectively. When you are tied to a rigid tactic, you only see what your tactic wants you to see. You filter reality. That's true. But when you accept that you are just like the market, simply moving up and down with it, your vision becomes completely clear. That is how you achieve a truly objective point of view. It's not a bad message. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, making on the NASDAQ, we bought at 34. Oh my God, this Dow is tedious, huh? TDS. But I have a stop loss in place, and I think I'll move the stop loss up on. So just beginning to think, should I just clear out this? But we are straddling support 15, 17, 18, 19. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been streaming for an hour and whatever, an hour and a half. You can close this Dow here for basically nothing. I think I would like to call it a day. It just feels as if all juice has gone out of the market, but it's not exactly negative that I want to sell it. It's just not really doing anything. So I think we'll just leave it here. With the position open in the Dow, that might come good because we're developing a trading range. And the same in the NASDAQ, where I'm just currently now I'm losing a bit. There's quite a lot of questions still in my inbox. I think I'll copy them and then I'll answer them on Thursday. So don't think for 1 second that you're not going to get hurt, because you are. I promise you I will answer them. So thanks a lot for today. I'm kind of glad that you got to witness this, because there was a really, really powerful comeback. I can see Donald Trump is posting. That always makes me nervous. Always. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Karaoke Andy supposedly is there tomorrow. I haven't heard from him, so I will confirm that with you. And then I will see you Thursday. But I will manage these trades in Telegram. Okay? Thanks a lot for being here. You brighten up my day. It was very joyful. Thanks you. Bye-bye.